Only the first vault that counts for the team, but the second is what you must do if you want to be in the vault final. Türkiye will make their first appearance. They're on the uneven bars. They have on that apparatus Nazli Savashi, who's been a World Cup champion on the uneven bars. Bengüsü Yildiz, who we just saw a moment ago. As we look at Nazli Savashi, Yildiz has been a medalist at the Turkish Championships and the Islamic Solidarity Games on the uneven bars. The French will be on beam. They have in their team Célia Serber, Alison Lab, Maeva Gary and Alize Letrange-Moaki. To Célia Serber of Jean Monnet University Saint-Étienne. It was established in 1969 to bring a university to that city, formerly a mining centre near Lyon, named after one of the founders of the European Union. And all of its diplomas use the European Licence, Master and Doctorate system. Serber was a reserve gymnast for the Olympic Games in Tokyo. Oh, very secure. Acrobatic sequence performed without issues. That's in the 180-degree turn of the body with very good alignment. Same with the walkover, very good alignment. This is a composed and assured display from an experienced athlete. Oh, and then, what a save. Thought that she was hurtling off backwards after the wolf turns. The hand nearly went down, nearly completely tumbled off. That's the aforementioned experience. Kept it in check. Side aerial with not huge amounts of adjustment throughout this routine, apart from those wolf turns. A little sideways hop as she lands, but very well performed by Célia Serber. The best performance on the beam has come from Shang Lulu of the People's Republic of China, 13.35. Then Alisa Wada of New Zealand, 13.1. We now go to Bilge Tarhan of Marmara University, the only multilingual university in Türkiye. It runs courses in Turkish, English, German, French and Arabic. It has 13 campuses and was founded 142 years ago. Bilge Tarhan will obviously want to do very well on this apparatus, but her focus after this will be very firmly on the vault, where she's going to finish, because she was fourth at the last World University Games on vault. She's got unfinished business on the apparatus. I'm sure many of you know this, but if you are newer to watching the uneven bars, a thing to really keep an eye on is how close to completely vertical the gymnast is when they hit the handstands, because there are some quite severe deductions for not being within a certain degree of tolerance in the vertical position. She does save the hands going down. Quick thinking, quick reactions from Bilge Tarhan. But yes, 10 degrees of vertical for the difficulty credit for your handstands. Sam van der Hilst of the Amsterdam University of Applied Sciences. She was the bronze medalist on vault at the National Championships last month. A 19-year-old. And that's a very secure full twisting Yurchenko. Second year in a row that she was the third place gymnast on vault. Welcome to those of you just joining the action. You're watching the Rhein-Ruhr 2025 World University Games. Yildiz scoring 11.9 on the uneven bars. We've already had Italy, who are paired with Türkiye. They'll move round at the same time as them. Highest Italian score was 12.95 on the bars. Ceren Bines will now compete for Türkiye, the 20-year-old, who is at Ege University, the University of the Aegean Sea. A very well associated university with the training of Turkish gymnasts. She's got a tough job there to hold on and couldn't manage it. Türkiye will put up 4 gymnasts on the uneven bars, and I'll just remind you of that axiom I was referring to at the start of 5-4-3. You can have a maximum of 5 in a team, a maximum of 4 per rotation, and only 3 scores will count. You have to have 3 to count for it to be a team contribution and to be part of the team ranking. So Türkiye will hope to be able to discard a score with a full mark, full deduction. That's a nice straddle Jaeger. And she does dismount with simplicity but clarity, Ceren Bines. In this subdivision, Czechia and France. So Czechia were on the beam in the first half of the rotation. We're now with the French. Celia Serber, 11.95. There was a subdivision before this that was only for individuals. I'll keep you abreast of what happened there as well when I get the opportunity. Meke Jansen next to compete for the Netherlands. From the University of the Applied Sciences. It calls itself the University of Agribusiness, Food and Living Environment. And she lands cleanly. Lack of clarity in some of the form in this, Yurchenko. She got the body around and did well to stabilise the landing. Meke Jansen is a fantastic snowboarder and skier. She has spent a lot of time in the Alps. Her university is a very interesting one. Runs courses in things like animal husbandry, food innovation, horticulture and business management. 10.55 is the score on the uneven bars for Ceren Bines. And we go to the oldest, most experienced member of the Türkiye team, the Olympian Nazli Sevdenbashi, 21, and so associated with this apparatus. A World Cup champion on the uneven bars. Pack salto is assured. A little leg separation on the Van Leuven. Shaposhnik of a variation. Into the piked Jaeger. Has a reset of the handstand, but she controls it well and powers into a great old dismount. Very nice. was exciting from Natalie Savashi. We go back to experience. There was a moment where that handstand looked very vulnerable, but wraps the knees tightly into the tuck position, fully around a couple of times. Down she goes with authority. .95 for Maike Jansen. Now we go to Alison Lapp. The 22-year-old from the lovely city of Strasbourg. It's actually labelled the University of Strasbourg Bienvenue en France for its warm hospitality to international students, 20% of the entire student population. I'm sure there are so many of you who are just delighted to see Alison Lapp back in competition. She's got a really quite wonderful and inspirational story that will get its airing in due course. Well done. Great walkover. There's a real expressivity to what she does with the arms, and that's no surprise considering what we remember of her floor routines from days gone by. Good dismount. Alison Lapp of France from her hometown at University of Strasbourg. Yes, there was the loss of contact with the apparatus, the full mark deduction, but the dance-like quality to her work was just delightful to watch. 13.1, Natalie Savashi, best score we've seen so far in this subdivision on the uneven bars, and it is the fourth best overall. We go to Bengüsü Yildiz, the 18-year-old, one of two 18-year-olds in Team Türkiye. Uses the Maloney to transition, and then a rather separated pack salto. That time the Van Leven, and it didn't have the most clear form. The straddle Jaeger was much more secure. And a good dismount double tuck, very nice. Elegant and poised that to conclude from Bengüsü Yildiz. The undergraduate at Ankara Yildirim Beyazıt University, a new university of 16,000 students, opened in 2010. Already achieved a lot of fame for its School of Medicine. And naturally, because this is the World University Games, we will be doing a great deal of exploration into the academic lives of these athletes and the institutions that they represent, because they're not just wearing the national colours, they're carrying the banner metaphorically for their academic places of study. And we congratulate all of them for balancing academic life and elite level sporting life. Alison Lapp, 11.2. To Alizé Letrange-Marquis of the Jean Monnet University Saint-Étienne. 3 of the 4 in the French team representing that institution. Another gymnast for whom it is wonderful to see in this competition after the extremely well documented issues she's had with injury. She broke her foot in 2021, was unable to be part of the Olympic Games selection process, and then it happened twice more in quick succession. So she actually announced her retirement and has come back, and wow, has she come back. She actually won 4 gold medals at the top 12 domestic competition last November, including on this apparatus. You may be able to see why. And regrettably, she was almost there. Very impressive work on this apparatus. A little lack of amplitude perhaps. But the back double tuck to dismount was authoritative and never seemed in doubt. Well, she got through the lion's share of that with a great sense of purpose. It's lovely when you look at this French team. You see gymnasts who've had some extremely difficult times, who have maintained with ferocity their love for the sport. Gymnasts on the left and right there who know all too well the challenges they've faced, the tests that they've had, and Alison Lapp has spoken very freely and openly about it, which is a wonderful thing. 12.65, Bengüsü Yildiz. Second best score for Türkiye on the uneven bars. Let's have a look at the Dutch and Misha Marchena, the 20-year-old who's competed in Germany before, the Leverkusen Cup, enjoys being here, and will certainly enjoy the score for that full twisting Yurchenko. There may have been in places just a little lack of tidiness with the arms, but the overall form of it was really strong. 12.9 is the score. After focusing on economics and society at Rodenbosch College, she's now a student of business administration at the Francis University of Applied Sciences. Just as soon as we have the final scores calculated on beam, we'll hopefully be able to give you a sense of the standings, but there's a long way to go anyway, so any standings that we bring you at this stage are very intermediary, to say the least, because we've got teams waiting in the wings to get involved, 2 full subdivisions still to come today. And it's a wonderful pleasure to have your company wherever it is you're watching the action from at Rhein-Ruhr 2025. So just to remind you, we have Australia and the Netherlands, we have Italy and Türkiye, and we have Czechia and France functioning as paired nations, if you will. The first half of the rotation, we'll come back to that in a moment. 12.3 for Alizé Letrange-Marquis. That is the strongest score that we've seen for the French on beam. This is how it currently looks. Türkiye ahead after the first rotation. Very well done to them. The Netherlands in second place, Italy third. as I was saying earlier, we have 3 sets of teams, so 6 teams in total in this subdivision. The first half of the rotation belonging to Australia, Italy and Czechia, the second half belonging to the Netherlands, Türkiye and France. And then we have 4 sets of teams in the subsequent 2 subdivisions, but I'm going to throw a giant caveat out there, which is that we don't expect all of those nations going on today to actually be competing as teams. That's of no concern to the judges. They will just simply assess what is in front of them. They will look solely at the difficulty in the execution, and I'm sure many of you know, but I'm sure some of you are newer to gymnastics. It's worth saying that difficulty starts from 0, works upwards for everything a gymnast does. They earn marks. Execution starts from 10 and works downwards. Everything a gymnast does that deviates from the precise, correct form as stipulated in the very light reading document, the Code of Points. Not really, it's quite long. That will lose you marks. So difficulty, imagine an upwards arrow, execution a downwards arrow. And that's why it is what's known as the open code, because the difficulty is theoretically limitless. It isn't in practice, because everything is stipulated in that document, the Code of Points, so you have to do things that are actually already recognised and addressed in there, or you do something new and submit it as an element and have it named after yourself. We go to Sabina Halova, competing on the floor for Czechia. Opening performance on floor for Czechia, coming courtesy of Sabina Halova. She has competed at World Cup events, including in Türkiye earlier this year in Antalya. Now we're with the Italians at the vaulting table. No, we're not. We're on beam with Italy. Mandriotta started with 12.95 on the uneven bars. She has been a balance beam champion in World Cup competition in Slovenia last year. Now I just remind you that the Italian team will have to count every single score because they only have 3, and we're using the 5-4-3 system. 5 maximum in a team, 4 maximum per apparatus. 3 scores will count. But you can just use the 3-3-3 system. And that's what the Italians are doing. That's why for any gymnast in one of those 3 strong squads, when they do come off the apparatus, when they do know they've taken a full mark deduction, how composed they are in getting on with the routine is going to be very important. And how composed she was in getting on with the routine. Well done to Veronica Mandriotta. All three of the Italian gymnasts will be bidding for a place in the 18-strong all-around final. And standard 2 per country limits apply, just as they do for the apparatus finals. Sabina Halova with a 10.25 score on floor. The tumbling was not enormously complicated, but the whole routine had an assurance to it. What a special moment it's got to be for the Halovas. This is Adelaide Hooper from Griffith University. Opened its doors in 1975. Created the first degree programs in Australia in environmental sciences and Asian studies. And we welcome here to the World University Games the captain of Gold Coast Gymnastics, captain of the Queensland team. She makes a full senior international debut, but she is a much respected young leader figure. Her club will be watching on with absolute joy and pride, and they should be proud. She's going nicely here. A little shy of handstand. And she dismounts well. Job nicely done by Adelaide Hooper. You've got to be a really respected character to be given the captaincy of your squad. Because you've got to be the one that, you know, everyone can count upon to have competition temperament. And to not just get gymnastics, but to get people. Because sport is first and foremost about people. Whatever the sport, everyone here at these games is a human being with a life outside of elite sport. And a life that hopefully enriches their elite sporting experience. Veronica Mandriotta, 11.65. Marta Ugeri of the University of Pavia. It's one of those universities that doesn't have a main campus, it's very much scattered around the city. Stark contrast to the Messe Essen setup where we've got so many sports in adjacent halls. It feels like a campus of multi-sport games life. You walk right past the judo to get here. There's fencing, table tennis, many other sports. Bit of a delay. We understand there's some technical matter that needs handling. This is usually the point where we see somebody leaning over someone's shoulder and jiggling a laptop around and unplugging it and plugging it back in and maybe giving it a shake, frowning, pointing, all the usual signs that there may be some form of technical issue. Walking away, coming back with someone else in a jacket who looks a bit more important. They jiggle the laptop around, they switch it off and on again, and on we go. Adelaide Hooper, 11.9. 8 for execution. That's a very good example of what we'll see a lot at these games. Gymnasts who might not necessarily have the most explosively high difficulty, but they'll perform with clarity. Kate McDonald. How wonderful to welcome one of the most experienced gymnasts in her country, one of the most respected in the world, and she is a World Cup champion. She's also been a medalist on the uneven bars. You can see here, I'm sure, the ferocity of her swing. Really good height on the release. Van Leeuwen, the legs were very strong in form. The feet stayed together. Yeah, that's a great routine. Oh, well done. Kate McDonald, welcome to the Games. A student of the Bachelor of Environmental Management and Sustainability course at Deakin University. And the reigning Commonwealth Games champion on the beam. Keep an eye on Kate McDonald from an all-around perspective as well. Marta Ugeri of the University of Pavia. The Italian team coming to the close of their beam rotation. And a bit of a wait, but we now see the routine of Marta Ugeri, who was 7th in the all-around competition at last month's Champions Cup. She'll go to floor next, and she was a floor finalist in that competition. Tomorrow we have the all-around finals for both women and men, and then on the final day of the gymnastics competition, Saturday, we've got all 10 apparatus finals. Kate McDonald with a 14.35 score. You will not be surprised to learn that that is the top that we've seen on the uneven bars. That is even better than the two gymnasts from the People's Republic of China who performed in the first subdivision of the day. They're not competing as a team. Now it is Dominika Bonizilova next on floor for the team from Czechia. Started with 10.95 on beam. produced some memorable work on floor, the team from Czechia, Dominika Ponižilova. And this experienced squad, it's got gymnasts who've been competing for many, many years, nationally and internationally. And she's somebody who has spoken with real clarity about the changing of her goals that had to happen when she was a reserve gymnast for the Olympic Games, a backup for Aneta Holasová. Not the easiest thing to be in that position, to be so close to the greatest dream of any athlete and to feel like you might as well be a million miles away. But it's wonderful that she's actually been through that goal readjustment and has spoken so openly about it. Marta Uggieri, 12.65. Positive score for the Italians on beam. We saw Veronica Mandriotta earlier, 11.65. And 12 is the score for Dominika Ponižilova. So certainly a counting score for Czechia. Welcome to those of you just joining. We are now in the halfway point between rotations. We're going to see Türkiye on B. We're going to see the performance of the Dutch on the uneven bars, and we'll have France on the, or rather we'll have, yes, France on the uneven bars. It will be France on floor. Apologies, I'm just getting myself slightly muddled. Now, over on the beam, we had Alison Lapp's score changed to 11.6. It was originally 11.2, so an inquiry was successful. Good decision made to challenge that. The gymnast who did do a year of collegiate gymnastics at Long Island University in New York before returning to her club and carrying on competing in events like the top 12. She also, Alison Lapp, has one of the best named gymnastics podcasts of all time, which is Saltos and Mojitos. The French are competing on floor, and representing them, Maeva Guéry. The 20-year-old is from the Atlantic coast in Saint-Nazaire, directly west of Nantes. And that was a really unfortunate moment for Mevageri right at the close of the routine. A full mark to go and then other issues to come with it. Sam van der Hilst. Needs to build up the swing. And she does do so. Keeps that well and truly under control. The 19-year-old. Difficult because she came pretty much down underneath the bar, and that required a fairly big show of strength, which was something that she managed.
Good job.
Always nice to see that display of sporting spirit and camaraderie that is present not just at the World University Games, but frankly in the vast majority of gymnastics competitions. It's a sport that leads by example, a sport that a lot of other sports would do well to learn from, frankly, how athletes treat each other. 10.05, Mevageri. Really did have its moments as a routine. It's some lovely tumbling before that. Alison Lapp of the University of Strasbourg. I bet there are many of you out there that remember her Swan Lake routine at the Junior European Championships of 2016. What's colloquially known as a blast from the past. There are some things in life that were put here specifically to give you joy, and Alison Lapp's Swan Lake floor routine is one of them. Delightful, expressive, performed with choreography that utterly matches the music, and it is so important that that happens, because up to half a mark can be removed from a gymnast score for a lack of connectivity of the music to the exercise. Sam van der Hilst, 9.85 on the uneven bars. Kept the difficulty quite simple, but delivered it well. Now Bengüsü Yildiz will go to the balance beam for Team Türkiye. That's a very good mount. That's a lovely acrobatic sequence to follow. super alignment on the side aerial. She was less aligned there, wasn't she, unfortunately, in the wolf turns. Clear oscillation on the horizontal axis. The whole thing just started to wobble. Gets it back with poise in the front aerial. A free walkover. Sense of amplitude in the jumps. But certainly requisite amplitude in the dismount from Yildiz. The vast majority of it was very able. She was part of the team that won the gold medal at the Islamic Solidarity Games in 2022, the delayed Konya 21 Games. .25 for that artistic performance from Alison Lapp. Welcome back. Just lovely to see her in this competition. Meke Jansen will be the next gymnast for the Netherlands to go to the uneven bars. Much a Dutch squad that's focused on these athletes getting international experience. Straddle Jaeger, easily performed. Loses a bit of the form on the bail. Looking to try to get up to vertical in the handstand, and unfortunately the kineticism goes. And I'm sure that for many of you who've practiced the sport or practiced any sport to any high level, it goes without saying that these moments where a gymnast comes off the apparatus, like all moments in sport, they tend to be quite marginal things. They tend to be small variations from that which is ideal that look enormous, because that's the cruelty of televised sport. Every little misjudgment, every little thing that goes slightly wrong, it looks huge. All sports have their unique challenges, and one of the challenges in gymnastics is that something very tiny can have an enormous impact on your score. Yildiz with an 11.6 score on the beam. You're watching Rhein-Ruhr 2025, the FISU Games, the World University Games. A competition that used to be known as the Universiade in years gone by. We continue with the performance of the French on the floor.
11.85 points for the French gymnasts.
Now, Alizé Letrange-Moaki.
10.3 on uneven bars. Next gymnast on the floor, Alizé Letrange, France.
Doesn't she dance beautifully, Alizé Letrange-Moaki of France? The opening choreography is utterly captivating. Now yes, there's tumbling in here that's really well performed too, but it's hard not to focus on the expressivity, the performative quality of her work. Lovely. We go to Bilge Tarhan of Türkiye, competing on beam. She's from Bolu province in the northwest of Türkiye. It's midway between Ankara and Istanbul. And she was actually representing her home city university at the last World University Games, but she's now at Marmara University. Türkiye, I just remind you, leading after rotation 1. Well, you do get a higher degree of difficulty for any jumps performed in the side position. They're given one value higher than if you perform them in cross position. Sense of confidence in what we're seeing from Türkiye on beam. Some fine gymnastics. Always difficult when you start in a leading position, courtesy of something like bar, so then go to beam and hold on to it, but they are giving a good account of themselves. Around a couple of times in the pike position to conclude her display. Bilge Tarhan. Rebecca Janssen's uneven bar score was 10.3. And Elise Letrange-Mouaki picks up a 12.9 score on floor. I can tell you that's the best score we've seen on floor. Now, let's catch up on the French floor routine we didn't get to see, but we're going to now. This is Célia Sebert. Lovely to see that performance from Célia Sebert, but more importantly for the French, lovely to see the score that she received for it. She was the floor champion at the Christmas Cup in 2024, the European Gymnastics online competition. And it was a particularly important number for the French team, because they'd had the 10.05 for Maeva Guerry that we did look at during the rotation itself. Her score was 11.85. And the reason it's very important is because it sent the French into the lead. .05 from Bilge Tarhan over on the balance beam for Türkiye, doing their level best to hold on to a lead. The lead has changed. Türkiye have gone down into second place. France go into the early gold medal position with Italy third. The French having a decent advantage of about 2/3 of a mark over Türkiye. But I just remind you, we've got a long way to go, and it's going to be great fun seeing the next couple of subdivisions. For many people, the favourites are the Japanese women's team. They'll be in the last subdivision as the runners-up from the Chengdu Games. The winners in Chengdu, People's Republic of China, haven't entered a full team for this particular competition. They've really focused across many sports, the Chinese, on experience, on giving people opportunity, rather than in Chengdu, where they really brought a star-studded lineup to everything. But the Japanese have brought their really big hitters. Some well-known names on the judging panel. Some names from days gone by. Good luck to all of the judges in discharging their duties. Czechia are going to vault.
So we're at two inquiries in France for the floor routines of Hogben and Sebert, but both inquiries are rejected. So, revision of the line is the Yildiz.
Italy will be on floor. Italian team in third place. So, Czechia vault, Australia uneven bars. Australia on beam, I should say. I'll get it right one day. Veronica Mandriotta will be the first gymnast to go for the Italians on floor. Veronica Mandriotta, the bronze medalist on floor at the World Challenge Cup in Slovenia last year. And she only competed on floor in her World Championship debut in Liverpool in 2022. So she's long been somebody with a great association with this apparatus for the Italian team. Big year for her last year, making the comeback after a difficult injury hit 2023. Dominika Ponižilova is now going to vault for Czechia, and she is the bronze medalist from the World University Games in Chengdu 2 years ago. It was an enormous moment in her career. She will be trying to get into the vault final, so she will vault twice. We'll focus our attentions firstly on this vault, which is for the team, and it's good. She does have quite a big movement backwards though. Interesting to see from this angle. Yes, it's quite a long backwards adjustment. The layout Sukahara. Yes, very much her chosen first vault, putting that full twist into the layout Sukahara for a 4.4 degree of difficulty. .7, Veronica Mandriotta. Second best score we've seen on floor. Marta Orgeri will be the next gymnast to compete on floor. She was the floor finalist at the Champions Cup. we're seeing some really quite memorable work from the Italians on floor. A sense of very deliberate choreography and of some rather effective tumbling. Jarred landing coming out of the double tuck. Strong degree of performance nonetheless. Could Italy push their way up the standings a little? We'll head to vault next. Now 13.15, Dominika Ponizhilova. That's the vault that will count for the team. I'll also let you know about her second vault in a moment. Emma Morris of Edith Cowan University, Candle Mount to start on beam. First gymnast at her club to go all the way from level 1 to level 10. Isn't that brilliant? She was 7th at the national championships in the all-around competition earlier this year. Controlled. Great free walkover. Such an occasion to make your senior international debut at the World University Games. Good hold. She's showing composure. The gymnast from the Perth suburbs, Emma Morris. Excellent display. That was a performance of a very stable gymnast. Looked full of composure. She may have lost her name badge, but we'll remember who she is. Won't forget that performance and that contribution to the Australian team. Marta Urgeri has a score of 11.85. To go back to Dominika Ponizhilova, second best qualifier so far for vault. The top qualifier is Celeste Mordenti of Luxembourg. She had a very good day in the opening subdivision. Second best in the all-around qualification process at the moment as well, behind Shang Lulu of the People's Republic of China. Mordenti was producing personal best after personal best. Sabina Halova. She'll be the next gymnast to take to the vaulting table. Or not. I'll give you an update on that in just a moment. The setting is the Messe Essen Hall number 3. It's Rheinruhr 2025. And it certainly looks as though the Czechia team has concluded its activity at the vaulting table, because the French delegation setting up. 11.75 is the score for Emma Morris. Now let's look back at Kate McDonald of Deakin University, who was spectacular on the uneven bars. This is the reigning Commonwealth Games champion on the beam. She also won a gold medal on beam at the World Cup. She's an absolute joy to watch in this competition. Kate McDonald of East Melbourne in Victoria. Made a childhood dream come true when she competed at the Olympic Games in Paris. Yes, this is very much the apparatus that built her international name as the Commonwealth Games champion, but it is lately that we've seen her getting more honours on the uneven bars. And that's easy to see why based on the last rotation. Twists beautifully around into that dismount. She's so well aligned, such a central landing position. Now, we're going to revisit the performance of Czechia on vault, and this is Aneta Holosova. She is a gymnast who is aspiring for a place in the vault final. That was perfectly secure, opening her account with a full twisting Yurchenko. That's the one for the team. Slight separation of the heels, perhaps, when she was in flight. .05, quite a useful number that produced for Czechia. And I can tell you that she's in 4th place in vault qualification overall after an 11.9 second vault. Kate McDonald, 12.7 on beam. Where we find ourselves now is in the second half of this rotation. Working our way quite rapidly through subdivision number 2 of the day, but subdivision 1 of the team final, the women's team final. So the French heading to vault. And at the end of this, we'll give you the standings with 1 rotation to go. Hope you're enjoying it all so far. It's wonderful to have you with us wherever in the world you call home, whatever time of day or night you're watching from. I know there are some of you watching from very unsociable hours, not the easiest time. Probably a very different time zone from Germany. Extra bonus points for you. Here's Bilge Tarhan. And she goes to floor for Türkiye. She scored 12.05 on beam, 11.9 on the uneven bars. She's going for all-around qualification. whatever position in which they finish in this opening subdivision at Türkiye, they've entertained us enormously. She's a gymnast now who has been around the international stage for quite a few years. Yildiz. Now we have Alison Lapp. And she vaults with confidence. Her university, the University of Strasbourg, was established in 1538, a centre of intellectual life during the Enlightenment. It's got an enormous history. Not as high a degree of difficulty as the full twisting Yurchenko vault. 3.6 for the Yurchenko layout. I think that's a love that is reciprocated by a great many gymnastics fans all around the world. I know there are a lot of you that have been watching specifically to see Alison Lapp back in competition internationally.
Je
12.3 is Alison Lapp's score.
Allez Maïva! Allez Maïva, allez!
We go now to Maïva Gary. And she also vaults securely. France, not with huge difficulty in their vaulting, but with nice, tidy execution. Was indicating the twisting version of the laid out Yurchenko on the vault board. As I'm sure many of you know, it doesn't matter what a gymnast indicates, it matters what they perform. There's no issue with them changing. Maker Janssen will now go to the beam for the Netherlands. Tough opening. One always feels, especially for any gymnast who comes off on the mount sequence. Tough to immediately reset, and she's doing her best. And that was well done, side somersault. Nearly, she was close to holding it. Difficult jump to twist the body around and face the other direction and still be in alignment. logical conclusion that from Megi Janssen. It's unfortunate that she came off a couple of times, because around that were moments where there was good quality, particularly the side somi. That was arguably the strongest moment of the whole thing, and the dismount as well was clean. The Dutch unfortunately don't have the luxury of being able to discard any scores. There's only 3 of them. It was a 12.25 for Bengisi Yildiz on the floor. I think I might have given you Bilge Tarhan's previous scores rather than Bengisi Yildiz at the start of that routine. Yildiz 12.65 and 11.65 on bars and beam. Nazli Savashi will now perform for Türkiye. Made the final of the OSIEK World Cup on floor. She was 5th. Also made the floor in the next World Cup she attends in Tashkent. She tumbled particularly authoritatively. Nazli Savashi returned to the European Championships this year for the first time since 2022. Elise Letrange-Mouaki, 20-year-old French gymnast who returned to competition in November of last year after having initially retired. She's very interested in architecture, and it could be that the French are building a leading score because they have come into this rotation in first place. Now she does twist around in her Yurchenko vault, carrying with it higher difficulty than we've seen elsewhere in the French setup. She's a gymnast who appears full of authority upon her return. 4.2 difficulty score on its way for this vault. We are anticipating some higher difficulties to come, particularly in later subdivisions. There will be some double twisting Yurchenkos. Letrange-Mouaki not aiming for a place in the vault final, but she is doing all 4 apparatus. Only 18 make it into the all-around final, by the way. It is a condensed format. Megi Janssen picks up a score of 9.15 on beam. We're now watching Ceren Binej of Türkiye. performed by Ceren Binesh. It's interesting to note at these World University Games that Team Türkiye has gone full US collegiate style, and they have got the other gymnasts standing on the side doing the floor choreography of the one that's performing, which those of you who watch the American university broadcasts will know is very much a feature of how things are done there. It was being led by the sort of almost team captain-like figure of Savashi. But it's full of character, this routine from Ceren Binesh. She was actually a medalist at the World Schools Games, the Gymnasiade, a few years ago. She's from the Konak region of Izmir province, which is the same part as most of the men's team. It's really disproportionate how many top-level gymnasts from Turkey have come from that particular city. Sometimes it happens, sometimes there are areas associated with the sport. 13.05 for the full twisting Yurchenko of Elise Letrange-Mourki. Good news that for the French, that whole rotation. Nasli Savashi is rewarded with 12.6 for her routine. Team spirit for Team Türkiye. Now, Celia Serber. Looking back at the French vault rotation, and she also performed a full twisting Yurchenko. None of the French gymnasts attempting qualification for the vault final, but all of them aiming for all-around positions and for the best team result possible. The 12.95 for Serber, an important one. Certainly a counting score. 12.15 for Ceren Binesh. Where we find ourselves now is that the French have a strong advantage over Türkiye by close to a mark and a half, and there really is a sense actually of the top two teams moving quite far away from the rest of the pack. But France are the pace setters with one rotation to go, and the French will finish on the uneven bars. Türkiye, interestingly, are going to finish on vault, so it may be that roughly 1.5 mark difference is challenged quite strongly because of the expertise that Türkiye has at the vaulting table. We will discover, and we hope that you'll stay with us for the remaining two subdivisions of this women's team final. We're going to see gymnasts from Belgium and Hungary in action next, and Brazil. We don't anticipate those gymnasts to be posting full team scores. We anticipate the Portuguese will, as will Canada. Norway are not intending, based on their published working orders, to put up a full team. Same for Egypt, but the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland are. Spain in Subdivision 4 certainly will be going for team success, as will Japan. Those two nations both got onto the podium in Chengdu 2 years ago. The Republic of Korea will be, as will Chinese Taipei, as will Finland, and as will the host nation Germany, who will be joined by Austria and Switzerland in a very busy Subdivision number 4. But for now, we focus on Italy at the vaulting table. Australia on floor, Czechia on the uneven bars, and then we'll move to those leading nations of France and Türkiye in the second half of the rotation. They'll be joined by the Dutch, and the Dutch will be on floor. The best score we've seen on floor was from Elise Letrange Mouaki, 12.9. Best vaulting performance, Celeste Mordenti of Luxembourg. The best uneven bars performance, Kate McDonald of Australia. Best beam performance, Shang Lulu of the People's Republic of China. And as I mentioned earlier, all around, also Shang Lulu, with Celeste Mordenti second and Sara Surmanova of Slovakia third. Luxembourg, I believe, has a very interesting distinction at these games. I believe all of its athletes across its various sports are actually representing universities not in Luxembourg. To the last rotation we go. Sabina Halova on the uneven bars, the 23-year-old who lives in beautiful Prague. Early on goes for the Stradeljäger. Bale goes nicely into the handstand, but she's lost the swing, unfortunately. What is going to be interesting as we go through this team final, which, as I've said many times, doubles as individual qualification, is that we're going to see a lot of gymnasts from their various nations doing all-around qualifying. Sometimes 4 gymnasts on a team, and of course only 2 can earn a place in the final, so the internal competition will be its own challenge. Sabina Halova has got some World Cup experience, and she has been a medalist on the uneven bars at the National Championships, most recently in 2022. Now Veronica Mandriotta of the University of the Italian Chamber of Commerce. That was secure. Mercatorum University, it literally means the University of the Chambers of Commerce. It was founded in 2006, based in Rome. It has 44,000 students. Another of the full twisting Yurchenko vaults. It was quite a long time ago that Mandriotta made her senior international debut. 2021. She was indicating, I believe, on the vault board 1.5 twisting Yurchenko for a difficulty score of 4.6. Certainly a 4.2 difficulty score coming for this. 11.35 on the uneven bars for Sabina Halova. Adelaide Hooper of Griffith University. The captain of her club, competing on floor. Adelaide Hooper, the gymnast from the Gold Coast suburbs. She was born about 3 kilometres west of Surfers Paradise, which is very slightly geographically different from Essen. And she has been a wonderful ambassador for her part of the world, for her club. And doubtless she'll be full of stories when she comes back from these games, what she's experienced, what she's learned. She's proven that she has competition temperament, hasn't she? And that's one of the most important things any athlete can have. Veronika Mandriotta, 13.05 for a nicely executed full twisting Yurchenko. Of the University of Bologna, Carolina James from Imola in Italy. Well, it just about got landed. It's a little tricky in places. Let's have a second glance at this. She did extraordinarily well to actually get that up and around. There was a lot of determination there because the connection with the table was far from ideal. She's been competing a lot for the Biancoverdi club in her home city, in the Serie A, the Italian league, the biologist at the University of Bologna. And as I mentioned at the start, if you haven't heard reference to it before, always a special honorary award for anyone who represents the University of Bologna, the oldest university in operation in the world. 11.15 for Adelaide Hooper. There isn't really a special honorary award, I'm just making it up, but it's important to recognise Bologna University for its great history. The Charles University in Prague, now that has an extraordinary history. One of the oldest continuously operating in the world, founded in 1347, positively new compared to Bologna, but it goes back into the Middle Ages. Aneta Holasova represents them and represents Czechia, and performs her first complex move well. Max Salto loses a bit of form. And Maloney with good swing. Was wide of handstand. And a double layout to conclude. Very slightly piked as she landed, but recovered it quickly. Hope she's okay, because that left leg is very heavily taped and she's walking quite gingerly. Really attacked the Kachev. Yes, she's certainly in some discomfort, isn't she, Aneta Holasova? And that's what I wondered about at the start when she came off the beam. It looked as though something wasn't quite right. Carolina James scores 12.35. Execution 8.15. We're now with Marta Ugeri. Another gymnast representing one of the oldest universities in the world, Pavia, 1361. And another full twisting Yurchenko vault. So this will be of some real benefit to the Italian position. I'll get some decent scores registered. 13 exactly for Marta Ugeri. one half of a rotation still to bring you, and then it will be the conclusion of the opening subdivision of the team competition. It's the second subdivision of all women's qualification. 12 for Aneta Holasová. Daniela Halová goes to the uneven bars for the Czechia team. Domestically, this hasn't been her strongest apparatus. She's been a medalist in everything else at the national championships. What she does is maximise the execution of a quite simple routine and keep it tidy. And it was tidy. She was pretty convincingly into handstand, going from high to low. It hasn't got the big release move that we've seen from others, but it had a good amount of control. Kate McDonald of Deakin University on floor, the top performer on the uneven bars. One of the most experienced gymnasts here. Let's have a look at the work of the Paris Olympian. The final performance in qualification and in this team final from Kate McDonald of Australia. Had some very high impact tumbling that worked very well. Had an obvious issue near the conclusion. McDonald with 12.55 as her score. She's in fourth place in all-around qualification. We didn't see her vault at the start, but it scored only 10.6. Daniela Halová with a 10.7 score on the uneven bars. So still Xiang Lulu and Celeste Mordenti, the top two in the all-around. The best so far to have completed performances in this particular subdivision, Veronica Mandriotta of Italy. She's third in all-around qualification, about a third of a mark behind Mordenti. Well done to all who've made the journey to support, including Adelaide Hooper, very clearly there. now we move to an important part of this subdivision, because we're looking at France, the leaders, they're on the uneven bars, and Türkiye are on the vault. The French defending about a mark and a half's advantage. Celia Serber begins for them. Piped Jaeger. Salto. Maloney. Doing a somersault. Double layout, lovely. Nerves steadied there for the French by that display. Nice conclusion. Can they hold on this apparatus, or will Türkiye make up the numbers? They've got some good vaulters. They've got two gymnasts who'll be trying to qualify for the vault final. We might be expecting to see some 4.2, 4.4 sort of difficulty vaults. And if they're well performed by these gymnasts from Türkiye, then it might be that the French lead gets eroded. Bilge Tahan, fourth in the vault final at the last World University Games. She's been in the top 5 at the European Championships on this apparatus too. Absolutely knows what she's doing. And that's an important opening vault produced for Türkiye. That's the one for the team from Bilge Tahan. And it was quite a tidy full twisting Yurchenko vault. Tried to keep the arms as tightly wrapped into the body as possible. This ought to be a pretty decent score. It'll be up and around the 13 mark. Celia Serber with a 13.6. That is hugely important for the French team. Hugely important. That's the fourth best score we've seen on the uneven bars. Alison Lapp is next to go as France try to hold on to their advantage. Try to hold on to first place. Her pack salto had a nice arch at the back. It looked very aesthetic. Giga. All going well. Sense of swing, easy to watch, one felt confident. Oh, well done, Alison Lapp. Just all over well done in every aspect of this competition and in every aspect of life to get here. To have been through difficult experiences, to have rebounded and come back to the international stage, and to be somebody who wants to give voices to others too. 13 for Bilge Tahan. So far so good for France. We're watching Misha Marchena of the Netherlands on floor. Bronze medalist on beam at the National Championships very recently. She had a great competition. What a lovely gymnast to watch on floor. Misha Marchena. It's a very sensitive and narrative-driven performance. Extremely bright individual, hard-working academically, graduating in a couple of years' time in business administration at the Fontys University of Applied Sciences. It's one of the most well-regarded institutions of its kind in the Netherlands. Alison Lapp with a 12.7 score, 8 for execution. France still in line, definitely still in line to go into, or to hold on to the lead. Bengüsü Yildiz will be the next vaulter for Türkiye. She's got a lot of international honours on this apparatus. And she too performs a full twist in Yurchenko well. They are making for a very interesting combination, the French and Turkish teams, chasing top spot at the end of the opening subdivision, and you just never know. You just never know. Look at what happened to Canada yesterday. Top after the first subdivision of the men's team event, and they ended up winning the silver medal about 30 hours later because it took place over 2 days. There won't be as long a wait for the women because it's a one-day event. We have 4 subdivisions packed into one day for the women, with the subdivisions naturally being shorter for the women by 2 apparatus than they are for the men. It's Elise Letrange-Mouaki who next takes the uneven bars for Team France. Gets through her Jaeger. And indeed through her pack salto. She seemed to give herself lots of time in the air. Lovely move up into handstand. And she does well to deal with a very slightly compressed landing. Kept that on its feet, and as a result has delivered a big performance for the French and for herself. Well, if they were feeling any trepidation coming to this last rotation, it has not looked like it. That is going to help her all-around case. Elise Letrange-Mouaki, 12.6, and that gives her an all-around total of 50.85. She's gone into second place ahead of Celeste Mordenti, behind Xiang Lulu. Bengüsü Yildiz, 13.05. And I can tell you that the French are going to hold on to top spot. Even though we've seen some very nice vaulting from Türkiye. That's Atiye Bera Karademir's, silver medalist at the national championships this year. Last year she was the champion on vault and also at the Turkish team championships. And she'll be very useful in years to come as well, because she's a student of coach education at Bolu Abant İzzet Baysal University. So she's obviously thinking about what she can do to bring through the next set of athletes, even at the age of 18. Only vaulting, and she will go for a second time. But our focus is on the team event. I can tell you that there are 2 gymnasts from Türkiye in the top 5 on vault so far. Bilge Tarhan is the slightly stronger of the 2. And Türkiye are really so strongly focusing their attentions on vault. Nice to have a look at their specialist vaulting for the second time. Karademir's and vaulting well. Handspring front tuck. It's a lower difficulty vault, but my word, it was sharp. They've been vaulting nicely, Türkiye. Misha Marchena, 12.0 exactly. And now we're with Sam van der Hilst on floor. Really nice to get to see Sam van der Hilst on an apparatus that's been a strong focus for her this year. She's really been principally used as a vault and floor gymnast. She's got some nice secure tumbling. She looks very at home on this apparatus. She's actually competed in Germany before in the Bundesliga and at some smaller international events in various countries, and indeed at a World Challenge Cup in Croatia. Great effort from the Dutch team. Their level of experience doesn't compare to the likes of Türkiye. They've made the best of what they have. 13.05 for Karademir's. Good vault score for Türkiye. I can also tell you that she's the best of the 3 vaulters from her nation. She's in second place in vault qualification, ahead of Bilge Tarhan on tie-break criteria. So Bengüsü Yildiz, who's 5th in vault qualifying at the moment, will miss out. But they've done very well on vault, Türkiye, and they've done very well full stop. 10.8 for Sam van der Hilst. What an enjoyable subdivision it's been. We wondered if Türkiye might be able to make up the numbers. They got close, but France held on courtesy of some great uneven bars performances. This is how it looks after Subdivision 2, the first subdivision of the women's team final. France are the pace setters, the trend setters, and the ones to beat. Türkiye in second place, Italy in third. But quite a gap between second and third. Really, France is going to be the focus now going into the next subdivision. Who will be able to surpass them? Many are going to try. We've got lots of teams still to come. We've got lots of gymnastics still to come, and lots of entertainment still to come at the Rhine-Ruhr World University Games of 2025.